So the Payment Services Directive version 2, or PSD2 as it's commonly known, is a piece of EU legislation which has been brought up to tidy up a previous piece of legislation called PSD1. But in tidying it up, it's been extended to cover a number of things, as well as what it originally targeted. So strong customer authentication and third-party provider regulation. Payment service providers need to be considering what they do for Payment Services Directive version 2 because they won't be allowed to operate payment services in the European Union without complying. And that means that they need to make sure that all of the technical requirements that will be imposed on them, they're actually capable of meeting. And those are, for example, new technical capabilities of authenticating individuals, but also some API access to bank accounts. The EU referendum result from the UK means that the UK will still be bound by the Payment Services Directive 2 for payments going into and coming out of the EU. But in addition, it establishes common regulations for payments anyway. I know it's a good idea, and the regulator is minded to implement it for the UK anyway. So it's likely that we are going to have to live with at least part of the PSD2 for the near term. So when Payment Services Directive 2 comes in, all payment service providers will need to think about how they authenticate their customers. That's a provision called strong customer authentication. So that's, for example, biometrics, security tokens, and secure phrases. In addition, they'll also be needing to open up access to their accounts. That's called third-party provision. So payment service providers have two really key things that they need to do. Think about how they're going to make sure that their customers are who they say they are, and which technologies they're going to use to do that, and then also how they're going to allow those customers access from things like their mobile phones to the payment accounts they have. So the first key benefit of implementing PSD2 for payment service providers is, well, they're allowed to stay in business. The Payment Service Directive is the rules by which payment service providers are allowed to provide payment services all the way across the European Union. If you don't comply with it, you're not allowed to. You're not allowed by the competent authority, and therefore it's mandatory. However, how you implement it is very much up to you as a business, and therefore looking at the technologies, looking at your customers, looking at how you might be able to serve them better, that's the best approach to do it. So Payment Services Directive 2 will impact payment service providers and also impact consumers and businesses to some degree. Payment service providers have the largest amount of work to do to comply, to make sure they have the technologies and processes and procedures. But it will also inevitably have an impact on the users of payment services as well. So you'll probably be given, as a payment service user, some new tokens or enrollment of your biometrics, your face, your fingerprints and so on, so that you can make payments wherever you are very straightforwardly. So the impact on everyday purchasing habits will be that some payments are completely unchanged. So for example, chip and PIN transactions. However, if you're making a payment through an online banking system, it's likely you'll have to go through additional levels of security or authorization to allow those payments. Specifically, if they're over €50, you actually have to authenticate yourself better to the payment service provider to make sure it really is you that wants to make that payment.